Uh, so this is just a strategy that we use to just massively boost our content output for the same or less effort and budget. And we call it content pillars. It goes by quite a few different names. I know a lot of you are like, your focus is either on just building like the initial seeds of brand awareness, or are really pushing on to focus on building brand as a moat and a lever, either for funding rounds or just to push on to that next stage of growth. So this strategy is something that we use a lot, and I've used with previous clients and previous employers a lot in the past. And hopefully some of you will either be using this already or will be doing this to some degree, but this should just give a massive boost to that content output so far. And the overall idea is really, really simple. A content pillar is just a name for a large block of content that you can use to create and feed a ton of different extra bits of content and just boost your reach massively without having to do an awful lot of work. So I guess the biggest barriers, actually the biggest barrier to putting out a lot of content often is a kind of a nervousness and perfectionism. Certainly for myself, I'm a natural perfectionist, and it's hard to just put a lot of regular content out because mainly because I'm scared of what people think, and that might be my audience, or that might be my boss or my CEO. And actually, although the challenge seems like it's time and budget, often that can be a bigger factor to getting a lot of content out in one go. But this strategy overcomes that, and the goal here is, like I say, to build brand, and definitely for B2B, to warm up conversations as they come through. The level of conversation that you have with someone who follows you, who understands the business, and who is further down that funnel essentially, will be completely different to a conversation you have with someone who has just come across you, seen a single ad come through, has never heard of the business, doesn't understand the product, and are further up the buyer's journey, or further down the buyer's journey than other people. So for us, to give you an idea of what this looks like, the way we run this process for Plexi is every month I shoot a video podcast. It's a vlog. I interview an expert or a SaaS founder, and that is a video podcast, and that for us is our content pillar. And from there, that forms a basis of hundreds and hundreds of extra different bits of content throughout the month that we rapidly and quickly chop up, change up, and create off the back of that. So the choice for, especially for small businesses, but even for larger organizations, is which what you want to focus on as your content pillar. Now, you might run one of these, you might run all of these simultaneously, but the principle is the same. And so the main content pillars are either a blog and a written SEO optimized article, or a video. So once a week, once a month, whatever you've got budget or capacity to build out and deliver. Then you may do like a video series, or for us, like it's a podcast. Or the other option, if you're camera shy, if you are happy talking and just a good conversationalist, happy running that conversation, then the other option is a podcast without a video. Those are really the three main kinds of content pillars that you can use as a basis to then chop and change and create 100 different pieces of content throughout the month, or the next few months, the next 6 months, and just massively boost your output and your brand. So yeah, for me, I'm comfortable being on camera. I really enjoy speaking to people, learning, interviewing people, and so creating a SaaS focused podcast was an easy option. I enjoy the others. I enjoy writing, I enjoy speaking, but by creating that solid hour and a half of video and audio content once a month, our process and our content pillar and the way we break that down looks a little bit, I'll run you through what that looks like in the background. So before I even start the podcast, I will go through, I'll look at who the guest is, and I will, or the team or an assistant will go through and we will actually research keywords before we even record the podcast around the kind of conversation we're likely to having. We will go in and go into Google's keyword planner, and we will do a keyword search on topics that we're likely to talk about. And so, for example, we might be speaking to somebody who's involved in mergers and acquisitions for SaaS companies. And so we'll go through and we'll dive into M&A, mergers and acquisitions, buy, sell SaaS companies, run those search terms in Google Keyword Planner. If you haven't been into Google Keyword Planner before, then just create a free account to run ads on Google. It might ask you for some payment details, but it won't charge you. Go into Google, go into their AdWords section, and just in the search bar type Keyword Planner. There's a ton of tools that you can use to run keyword searches. That is the one that we still tend to use and works best. So we go into the podcast, and I know exactly what topics. I have questions, and it's a free-flowing conversation, and I love improvising and just having a good quality conversation with guests as they come on and seeing where it goes. But I will also be hitting particular topics, particular high ranking, like subjects with high keyword rankings as we go through that podcast and that episode. And so for us, like we're fairly time strapped. We're still a fairly small budget business. So once a month, 1 hour is plenty for us. If you're at an earlier stage, then you might not manage that. You might do once every 2 months. Whatever you've got capacity to do, whatever you've got budget to do, then block it out. You might do 3 times a week. You might do once a day. You'll record an episode, or you might put a blog article out, whatever that might be. Set it up at the right pace for you, because as we all know, consistency is king. There's no point trying to execute this for 3 months, not having the time, getting dragged into product or getting dragged into sales, and then this falling off the wagon. So yeah, we hit those keyword topics within the podcast, record the podcast. As soon as the podcast is done, that podcast gets edited, the audio gets edited, or we put an intro onto it, and it goes immediately up to YouTube with those keywords included. We spend quite a lot of time on the heading and plug that into YouTube. So that's one bit of content that we get out of that. YouTube has a free tool to transcribe those videos. It's not 100% perfect, but it does a pretty good job and massively reduces your editing time, or sorry, your transcribing time. So we will often run that, and then we'll like an assistant will go through and just spend an hour, a couple of hours going through an hour's worth of text transcriptions and modifying that text to add subtitles to that. Those subtitles we will then take those subtitles from an hour and a half of content, and we will chop those subtitles up. They've already got our SEO keywords in there because we've hit those topics within the conversation, and we will pull out I don't know, 10 or more, 10, 15, 20 SEO optimized articles using very similar text to what is actually in the conversation. Often, sometimes we'll modify it, sometimes we'll use it as a basis, but we can take that transcript and chop and change that, and very quickly have 10, 15 SEO optimized articles that go onto the website. And then we will also we could also take those articles and we tend to delay this and not put them up at exactly the same time, but 3 months, 6 months later, we'll upload the same or very similar articles to Medium as well. So that's another chunk of content done off the back of that. We will take that full podcast episode and chop up, go through, find the most relevant, the most valuable, the most interesting segments from that conversation, and quickly create 20 or more bits of video content from that podcast, simply by chopping 30-second, 1 minute, 2 minute videos directly out of that podcast. So that instantly gives us a ton of video content that we can use across channels. And in terms of the channels that we post social content on, and how to approach that and how to think about that, you want to be posting content on as many different platforms as possible. People, I guess the biggest questions around which platform should I be posting content on, and where's it best for me to be spending my time doing this? The answer is as many as possible. You want to focus on the big ones, and this is the same whether you're B2B or B2C. The goal here is just to increase touch points, increase brand awareness, and if you're B2B, certainly on LinkedIn, you want to be putting as much video content on LinkedIn as possible. But also with this strategy, you can take the exact same video and upload it straight to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and should be doing that. The only caveat to taking these blocks of content and I hate using the word cross-pollinating, but cross-pollinating across a ton of different platforms is that you may need to make slight modifications to the style, to the tone, and to the format of content that you post. So so the format and the tone of LinkedIn, obviously it's a B2B platform. It is becoming more and more informal by the day, but the tone will be different to the copy that you put on the post. And also, I mean, all the content should be appropriate for LinkedIn anyway, like video content if you're just chopping and pasting video content. But in terms of the copy, tone, and also the format. So for LinkedIn, you might do a slideshow. You might build out a slideshow on SlideShare. So we might take one of those SEO optimized articles that we've got from our podcast, and then we could, if there's say 5-10 points from one of those articles, and we've just bulleted those out as how to do X for whatever your headline is, and then we have 10 bullet points for LinkedIn. We might build out a SlideShare slide deck and just take exactly the same content, reformat it slightly just to make it fit that platform. And again, for any context across Facebook, Instagram, stories are a great place to be putting content, and the more, like I say, the more the better. But you may need to be wary about the tone and the format of what you're putting out, and also about what's converting best. So for LinkedIn, then the kind of content that is going to get you the most reach and get you the most visibility and views and engagements on LinkedIn, just because of the way the algorithm set up, is video content. So you might also just want to be putting more video content onto a particular platform, or like a particular content form onto a platform, because you know that it gets the most engagement. And so, yeah, you really don't need to think about this too much. I would say choose whether you start with a blog article, a vlog, or a podcast. Get that up and running immediately, and do whatever you're most comfortable with. If you're a writer, if you prefer speaking, or if you want to be on video, just get that up and running. Don't think about this too much. Don't worry about, like, if you're struggling to get a buy-in from colleagues or your boss, just crack on and show them the results afterwards, and they'll thank you for it later. I know that's easier said than done. Or if you're worried about your brand and the impact that just putting content out is going to have on your brand, again, certainly for small businesses, do not worry about that at all. If you have less than 1,000 followers on a particular platform, then your brand is not going to be affected by putting. You're gonna gain so much more from putting regular, consistent content out, and putting authentic content out, than you are by putting polished, branded, perfectly graphically designed pieces of content out. And very often across all of these platforms, then that kind of rough and ready content actually goes a lot further. Your reach tends to be a lot better. certainly when we're building out ads and running ads, because so through Facebook, for instance, then actually rough and ready, more native style content tends to perform better because it matches with what people expect to see on that platform. So don't worry about making your content perfectly branded. As you get bigger, that becomes more of a focus. But even so, and I know there's more pressure in larger corporate businesses to have the branding on point, but even so, that authenticity, that transparency, that rough and ready feel goes a long way, even to boost the brand, especially to boost the brand of bigger corporate organizations. So yeah, that's the strategy. In terms of, so say for instance, your content pillar was a blog article, and you wanted to build out the same strategy, but using your content pillar as a blog article, then there are tons of different tools, strategies, techniques that you can use to build content off of that. I think Capwing has a text to animated video creator, so you can very quickly take that block of SEO optimized blog article that you're creating, and there are tools that will automatically create video content that you can then upload to YouTube, to LinkedIn, and the process works both ways. You're not nowadays you're not limiting yourself by choosing one or the other. For us, we choose the video podcast because it is quickest and easiest to take that and then turn that into text, images, written content, but it doesn't have to slow you down to choose a podcast, like just an audio podcast or a written.
Sorry, Rob, can I just interrupt you there?
Yeah, go for it.
I was just going to say, what was that platform you just mentioned about the text to video recommended?
So there's a lot. I think Capwing is something we use for content creation a lot. I think that there's I think they've got a function that turns text into video. If you just Google like AI text to video tool, then you'll probably get about 5 to 10 pop up.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, there's not a lot more to the strategy than that, but and you'll have to adapt it for your own, like whatever expertise you've got in the business, whatever your skill sets are, wherever you're posting content out and how you want to structure it. But the overall strategy will save you hours and hours and hours of work, and thousands of pounds in budget as well, and just help you to rapidly build that brand and get more content out. Yeah, does anyone else have questions on that?
Rob, may I ask a question?
Yeah, dive in, Michael. Just shout out.
Hi guys, nice to meet you. Sorry about my little introduction earlier on. So regarding then we currently have video testimonials that we have from customers, and we currently have on our website some blog content that we have written. So should we be creating documents, blogs, or sorry, SEO content of the video testimonials that we have with our customers? Is that something we should be doing, and then slicing and dicing that?
Yeah, I mean, testimonials are slightly different, but you could certainly do that. I know Sam and Rory, you tend to build your testimonials out almost as a white paper, and you do fairly solid written, visual PDF case studies that you send out to your email list, and also just use those as marketing material. Yeah, in terms of testimonials, I always tend to say that I would always push for video over written, because it's more like, it's like somebody's actually speaking to you, and it feels more personal. But you could both do that either way. So Michael, if you've got videos, certainly transcribe those and put those as content. It might be harder to SEO optimize those, because like a testimonial is a testimonial. You're not going to really edit that at all, and you're not going to add in SEO keywords, but certainly have that written out. And you could like Sam and Rory have got, just build out a white paper and a written document with exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your business, Michael?
Try to say that again, Sam.
So I was going to ask, what is the business that you work for? What is it, B2B or?
Yeah, we're B2B, business intelligence, automated business intelligence for car dealerships.
Okay. Yeah. So
our early days, what we did, Sam, is we went round, and I went round. I rented a professional kit and went round and interviewed about 5 of our customers. They've given us like liquid gold testimonials. They're really rock solid, you know.
Yeah, I think what might be useful for you is if sort of me and Rory just talk quickly about our sort of overarching content strategy, and just sort of spitball a bit around how we do it. You might be able to take a bit of insight from that. I'm not saying it's perfect or that it works, but what we generally do is, being in the similar B2B tech business, we're a marketing automation platform. So we have a huge sort of customer profile that is marketers. So we start out with trying to think about, right, what are the pain problems that they solve? Like, what do they want to read about? What do they want to hear about? And we work around this sort of 2-month rolling cycle where we produce a really high value PDF, whether that's, it might be the ultimate guide to marketing automation, or how to 12x your marketing ROI, or the ultimate, it might be the email marketing playbook was the most recent one that we did. And that guide is about 15 to 20 pages of really condensed industry specific knowledge about subject lines, deliverability, how to write the best email content, what the best image size is, all that kind of stuff. And then what we do is we kind of approach our customer base, say, right, we've got a white paper for you. There you go. We're gonna send it out to everyone that we know, and we're gonna distribute it through outbound channels like LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads, PPC display, whatever it might be. But the thing we do is we put a gate in front of it and say, if we don't know who you are, you need to give us your email address and your phone number and your mobile number, your name and your company before we're going to send this to you. So fill out this form and we'll send it to your email. So we're instantly swapping a piece of content that we've written for a record. And we then go off and nurture that record over a period of weeks, months, however long it takes for them to generate enough interest in our product so that they actually become interested. Then the second part of that is, further down the funnel, we use client testimonials. So we don't really introduce those until we've got a prospect in. They know who Force24 are. They've read a guide. They know a bit about how we write and stuff. We might gain some more insight through that time, whereas actually it's from an automotive dealer. Oh, we've got a Perry's case study here. Have a read of this, how they managed to, reduce marketing costs by 95% and drive 200% ROI, whatever it might be. So it all revolves around that. Okay, we get the customer, we get a new prospect, and we start to drip feed, and we'll swap a record for a piece of content. That's fine. We might get 5,000 new records from a piece of content, and off we go. But yeah, the testimonial stuff, we don't generally go straight out and say, here's a testimonial, have a read of it, see what you think. We try and drip feed that in where we know it resonates with the prospect, because it's their audience, it's their it's their sector. They might be from, I don't know, Evans Holshaw or someone like that, and it might be, oh, we know Perry's, yeah, they've talked about, they use you guys, they've spoke about you a lot. So it's that social proof element that comes in and says, oh yeah, I know about this, but I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Rory.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say one more thing. With the guides that we do, obviously they are really helpful guides and stuff, and they are targeting like the pain points and bits like that. But there's always little bits in there. We're always basically trying to big up our own company in there. So we're always trying to provide, a lot of the problems that we say, we also provide the solution for. So it's not a complete guide of just us selling to them, but there's little kind of just hidden bits in there, like you say, just saying, oh, by the way, if you do want to do this, Force 24's there for you. Anyway, here's the next point, blah, blah, blah. Here's what you should be doing for this. And all of our guides kind of have like a little bit of that in, just to, keep them. We always make it something related to, what we offer in our own platform. It's not something completely off. It is like you say, there's always, us trying to basically sell our kind of platform, but subtly. I think that's the key thing, because you don't want someone reading through a guide that's just pure just sales.
The other related bit to that is talking about blog posts and stuff is, once you've built your idea out for that white paper headline piece of valuable content where you're actually justified in asking for an email, because it's you put a lot of value on that. Blog posts and things like that, you don't want to ask someone for an email address to read a blog post, because I'm not going to do it because I'm not that interested. When you've got that master piece of content that you might labor for 3 months, you can look at it and say, right, there's a subject here on email subject lines. Right, let's write a blog post about subject lines that's 300 words long, and then let's put a link at the bottom that says click here to read the full guide, and it goes off to the gated landing page. And that way you can produce probably 10-15 blog posts for this one white paper, which actually is something we don't do, Rory, that well, to be honest. But yeah, so you've got your big white paper. You say, right, I'm going to make 10 blog posts. There's one on email deliverability. There's one on, IP warming. There's one on images. There's one on whatever. And then you drip feed content out through different channels. Maybe it's Facebook, you put a blog post on. And all the time you're trying to drive them back to that gate so that you capture the details. And then once you've got them, it's about what do you do over those next 2-3 months to warm those prospects up into a genuine sales opportunity, I guess.
Yeah, I think something you touched on there, Sam's a really key point, is being careful what you do actually gate with your content. You need to make sure it's something that someone will be willing to give their details for. So, like you say, you don't want to be doing it over just like a blog post or a small bit of that. You want it to basically have a piece of content that you're like, yeah, people are going to want this. So people go, you know what, it's worth handing my details over. Another thing that we're very careful on is making sure that the data capture process is something just very simple and very easy. So for example, first of all, once you put your details in, that's it. We make sure you don't need to enter your details again. You can download any of our guides, anything, because there's no point. We've already got your details, and we want you to basically download as much as possible. Feel free to basically take as many guides as you want once we've got your details. But in the first case of that, we want to make sure we're only getting, like you say, first name, last name, company name, phone number. That's about it. You see a lot of data capture processes, and it's just this big long list of company address, and you're like, you know what? It's not even worth it. I can't be asked. I just wanted a quick look at this guide. I don't want to fill all that in. So we basically just have the most minimal data entry as possible. I think that's a really key thing in trying to get as many people to download your content as possible.
Super. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, guys.
No worries.
There's a year's work for you there, Michael.
Yeah. Sorry, I asked the question. Let's take no more questions.
Really solid advice, though.
That's good. It's good, guys. Yeah, it's good.
Any particular bits that you'll jump on board from?
We have with our blogs. We have blogs on our website, and we designed those blogs to be written around. We obviously got a professional content writer to write them for us, really including a lot of the key phrases that we would, be targeting. So we have strategy. We did have a strategy designed for that. So we have those blog posts on the website, and we do post those. So we have about 12 blogs, content articles that we wrote with key phrases in them. And then we posted them on our website, and then we post each article once a week. So over a 12-week period, or 3 months, once a week that those articles are being posted onto LinkedIn, and then I think in week 13 we post a video, a compilation video on LinkedIn through from our testimonials. So, but we're not getting any inbound from it. We don't get anything from it. So and I've got 10,500, 11,000 people on LinkedIn, all relevant to our sector as well.
I think something that LinkedIn does punish you for, Michael, is if you go on LinkedIn as a user and write a post, here's a new blog article, blah, 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 and put the link in it. If you're linking away from the LinkedIn website, I think the algorithm actually punishes people for that. So you won't see as much engagement as you would if you wrote a text post on LinkedIn and said in the text post, check the link in the comments, and then posted the link in your comments. Just something to be mindful of, I guess. But
I'll check that. I think, Sam, I don't think we are putting a link. I'll double check that.
Yeah, double check.
I'll double check that. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And what you can also do, Michael, is you can set yourself up as an author if you've not already done that. So if you're posting longer form pieces on LinkedIn, you can set yourself up as an author to post posts on there.
Good point.
Which might help. In terms of the blog posts, you were saying that are including key terms. Are you finding that you're ranking for those on Google, Michael?
We are. I've just had the sack the old SEO guys and getting you guys on board. They did an audit for us. We're starting to rank #1 for about, out of, let's say, 15 key phrases. Out of the top 5, we're ranking #1 at the moment.
Nice. You getting traffic and leads from that?
No, we're not.
Right. Okay.
No, we're getting no inbound at the minute. Yeah, no,
right.
No. Which
If
is
you
a frustration.
Kind of volumes, if you look to the volumes you get it there are for those kind of search terms.
So no, I haven't got into that yet, Charlie. I was just going to go back and ask a question, guys. So we get about, on our blog posts, what are acceptable view levels? We get averaging around 500. That's typical of a post. So we get a lot of views, but views don't mean anything really, do they?
The issue is in converting those 500 views into inbound inquiries, is it? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Might be interesting if you've got a link to one of the blogs now. If we can just have a quick look, see if there's any sort of conversion rate optimization, or what is on that page. If there's nothing else on the page, then it probably wouldn't be a massive surprise. Like you kind of you maybe want like a contact form or a.
I'll quickly show you if you don't. I don't want to take up everyone's time on it, but I don't mind. I don't mind. Certainly don't mind sharing it. I want to show you the LinkedIn profile posts.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Rob, am I able to share screen there?
You should be able to. I've just flicked the setting for you.
Share screen. Bear with me, guys. Do this. Okay, into my profile here. Let's have a look. Okay, let's do.
That's pretty cool. Whoever's posted that.
Jason, I've just finished a session with Jason last week. Very good. So it just runs a bit slow, guys, because I think because of
Zoom. You do any outbound email at all, Michael?
Not yet. Not yet. That's why I'm talking to Rob.
I'm sure Rob's got a good email provider he can refer you into.
Yeah. So here we go. This is my profile. As you can see. Okay. So let's go to my activity. I have to say I do spend a bit of time, but I have recently getting the profile up to date, up to speed.
Yeah.
Some subtleties of putting the links and stuff in. So let's have a look. This is typical. This has gone up. Well, this is 5 hours ago. So this is today's post. If you can go on, you'll see my sort of posts. So they're all formatted. That's just to show us something different. But let's just take a typical look here. Let's have a look at. That's got 104 already. So what would you like to see in here?
Yeah, if you just click open to that, yeah. So that link there where you've got buff.ly, if you just open that in a new tab, where does that actually go?
to the website.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I think I'd suggest, and I've not got any data to back this up, but if you go back to your post,
You said about eliminate those links.
not well from the original post, I'd say if you say coronavirus has presented businesses with two serious da-da-da-da-da, to meet these twin challenges, businesses will need to change the way they work and think, and then say link in the comments to read more, with like a little down finger emoji or something like that, and then you post a comment on that post yourself with that link. It's just something to try, because I do think the algorithm doesn't like that kind of thing, which is probably, I mean, you've got 11,000 followers there, so to get 104 views seems really, it's what, 0.1%, is it?
Yeah, it's low. That's low.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to try. I don't know if anyone else has got, I'm not an expert in LinkedIn by any means, but.
Yeah, no, so so the company I worked at before coming to It Settled, our social media manager adopted that approach as well. So yeah, including the link yourself in the comments below. And I think, yeah, saw an uptake on click-through. So yeah, definitely worth trying, Michael.
Okay, that's a good tip. Actually, yeah. So I'll get our girl does it to take those out, and just put them in a comment below.
Yeah, she could even copy that post now and post it again with the comment link in the comments, and we can have a look at it next week.
Yep. Do you know what? Good idea. I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna remove link and in header.
Yeah.
With the
stick it in
with the copy, Michael, your headline there isn't too bad. In terms of the copy, when you post on LinkedIn, the only text that people are going to see initially is that first sentence. So
yeah.
So I'd put, and as with anything, whether you're building out a landing page or an email, that headline is always the most important to get people's attention, to drive curiosity, to get people to read on and take the next action. So your headline there is not bad. You could probably create a more attention-grabbing headline, but it's not a bad shot. From there, once you've got people's attention, you then want to get them to read on, to spend as much time looking through that content, to click on. So the way LinkedIn is set up, then there's a read more button at the top of each post. You want them to read on. So I'd actually, if these posts are linking through to a blog article on the website.
They are, yeah, that's what happens. You link through there. Yeah.
I'd take a little bit more of that content. So where you've got your subheadings 1, 2, 3, 4, I'd just take like the headlines from there, and you could just run those through and give a tiny amount of information to fit in with the character space. But you could
beef this up a little bit.
Yeah, beef it up. You could create given the way that you've got your SEO articles set out, you could very quickly have a really nice curiosity-driven headline, get people to click on read more, engage with the post, spend more time reading it, go through, and then don't give them all the information. The key to getting them to click through is just keeping curiosity and withholding the information that they really want. So
we refer to it as sell the sizzle, not the sausage.
Yeah, exactly. And you've got plenty enough sales experience to know that. So yeah, sell the sizzle, not the sausage. I like that a lot. Okay. I'm going to steal that one. But, yeah, keep the curiosity. Your call to action is that click on the link, and like everybody said, always, and this applies to LinkedIn, this applies to Facebook, this applies to any social channel, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever you're posting on, never ever put a link in the body of the text. Always have your call to action. If you're driving traffic elsewhere, always put your link in the first comment, and your call to action will be click the link in the first comment, or linking comments for the full article. And then on the creative, your creative doesn't look bad. It's got quite a clear attention-grabbing headline. You might, Facebook certainly did more in the past, and I'd imagine LinkedIn does something similar. They penalize you for the amount of text you've got in your image. So you may, I mean, who knows what exactly how the algorithm works. You may be getting penalized for having too much text in that image. But what I would do is I would just, I mean, you could literally just test it, take that post and create a fresh set of copy, and then you could just film a 10-second video of you talking through like the most, just about the headline even. Just record it on your phone, sat exactly where you are at the moment. And that Swiss cow in the background is perfect for getting people's attention and getting them to stop scrolling through the LinkedIn feed. And so just refresh that creative. Just you could do a picture of your, I don't know, do a video of yourself scrolling through the platform and just look at a particular aspect of automated metrics, and you could have a video just on the topic, or you could just, I mean, try it with a stock photo, try it with a photo from the website, try it with a photo from the testimonial, try it with like 3-4 as different as possible bits of creative. Certainly for LinkedIn, video is king. Your reach, your engagement is going to go through the roof if you put video on there. So
Okay.
I'd probably chop out, if it was me, I'd chop out those fairly corporate looking images with text heavy, and I put something a lot more kind of natural and personal, and certainly video content in there immediately as well. And that's gonna boost your reach and your engagement, because you'll get rewarded for it, and more people are going to see it.
Okay, that's very, very, very good advice. So I'll start stripping out. I'll just revisit how we're posting, strip out the links, add a little bit more. Is it okay? Maybe I'd take some of those contents, do a wee bit of video on them, and just talk about them.
Yeah, and it can be really basic. You can be, I mean, not many of us are driving places at the moment, but
so this is what we do. We just scheduled it, and I posted out to all these places. Okay, so just yeah, maybe just re-edit some of these out. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, that's good.
Cool.